Jain everyone, myself Pooja Sharma. I am Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the NoSQL database. Today, we are living in the digital era and terabytes of data are being generated every month by all of us. This data may be in form of text, pictures, numbers, binary codes, videos and graph and so on. SQL database were conventionally used to deal with structured data, but now data has become more complex and unstructured. So, NoSQL database is attracting users from all over the world due to its unexceptional behavior and big data distributed processing capability for unstructured data. So, in this lecture, we will discuss in details NoSQL database and their types. Okay, so these are the table of contents. What is NoSQL database? Features of NoSQL database, types of NoSQL database, different NoSQL database, when should NoSQL be used, difference between RDBMS and NoSQL database, advantages of NoSQL database, disadvantages of NoSQL database, and we also discuss briefly MongoDB. So, NoSQL database. NoSQL stands for not only SQL. NoSQL database are also known as non-relational database that does not require a fixed schema. Users can create document with flexible schema and can scale up evenly without much of stretch. NoSQL database the process information in a distributed manner and can oblige tremendous volume of data. Internet giants like Facebook, Google, Amazon use NoSQL database, heavily deal with terabytes of data daily. So, NoSQL database uses distributed storage. It is easy to scale them up horizontally with commodity hardware. Okay, in RDBMS world, the system tends to go slow when volume of data increases and could be tackled by scaling up the existing hardware. However, this process is expensive and inefficient. As alternative to this process is distributed the data load to separate commodity hardware when the load increases. So, this is called scale up. Vertical scaling, and this is horizontal scaling. So, NoSQL database are the perfect replacement for decreasing storage costs and increasing developers costs. It optimizes the daily data management activities. So, next is features of NoSQL database. NoSQL database offer numerous features over traditional database. We have listed a few of most popular features of NoSQL database. First one is schemeless table. NoSQL database are schemeless and can store heterogeneous data from the same domain easily. Users can quickly load complex schemas and heterogeneous data in the same NoSQL data documents or tables. Second feature will be no relational structure. NoSQL database does not rely on relational models and it does not store the data in flat fixed schemas. It also doesn't support complex features like query language, integrity join, ACID operations and so on. The above listed points make the NoSQL database popular among the big data and real-time fields. So, third feature will be third feature is simple API control. NoSQL database offers easy to use API interface to allow low level database manipulation. They are very versed with REST endpoint. Fourth feature will be distributed computing. NoSQL database offers distributed processing of queries along with auto scaling and failover mechanics. where the data is stored like this in RDBMS and data will store in NoSQL database like this. Okay, next will be types of NoSQL database. There are 4 different categories of NoSQL database. First one is document based, second one is key value store, third one is column oriented database, fourth one is graph based database. Let's discuss each of them in details. Okay, first one is document database. In document database, use key value pairs to store and retrieve data from the document. A document is stored in the format XML and JSON. Our example of the document database is shown below. This one. The above figure shows that the document database contains the data in JSON or XML format and can contain varying schemas. The document can be nested and indexed for faster querying. So, document database allow developer to restructure their document based on their application requirement, which may change over time. In contrast, in the RDBMS world, database administrators are required to restructure the database schema. So, MongoDB, OrientDB, Apache CouchDB, IBM Cloud and CreateDB, Basics and many more are the examples of document database. Next is key value store. Key value store are the simplest type of NoSQL database. It uses key and value to store the data. The attribute name is stored in key, whereas the value corresponding to the key will be held in value. In key value store database, the key can be string, whereas the value can be stored string, JSON, XML and so on. Due to its behavior, it is capable of handling massive data and load. The use case of key value store mainly store user preferences, user profiles, shopping carts and etc. DynamoDB, Rake, Redis are the few famous examples of key value store NoSQL database. Third one is column oriented database. Column oriented database stores the data in a set of columns known as column families. That means that whenever a user wants to run queries for a small number of columns, they can read those columns directly without consuming memory corresponding to all data. The working of the column oriented database is based on the concept of the big table paper by Google. So, below this one semantics shows how value are stored on column oriented database. HBase, Cassandra, Hypertable are NoSQL query examples of column based database. Fourth one is graph database. Graph database form and store the relationship of the data. Each element or data is stored in a node and that node is linked to another data or element. Example for graph database use case in Facebook, it holds the relationship between two users and further connection. So, graph database helps us the connection between data elements and link one part to various parts directly or indirectly. So, graph database can be used in social media, fraud detection and knowledge graph. And examples of graph database are Neo4j, Infinite Graph, OrientDB, FlogDB. These are the examples of graph database. Okay, next is when should NoSQL be used? A few factors are listed below to when we should use NoSQL database. First one is to manage huge volumes of data, managing modern application like microservices and real-time streaming, need to store structured and semi-structured data, fast phase agile development, and need to scale out architecture. Next is difference between RDBMS and NoSQL. So there are many difference between relational database management system RDBMS and NoSQL database. The core difference is how the data is modeled in both of the database, and a few key difference between RDBMS and NoSQLs are listed below. First one is RDBMS is relational database, as we already know, while NoSQL is a distributed database. RDBMS is vertical scalable, while means servers have to be added and power has to be increased, which makes scalability through RDBMS database quite expensive. NoSQL database are horizontally scalable, which means it needs to add more machines only. RDBMS has a fixed schema that makes it possible to insert data in a uniform format. It makes the data redundant and helps get the primary and foreign key to fit data in the table. In NoSQL database, there is no need to have a schema. One can add data in structured as well as semi-structured, which make them more flexible than RDBMS database. RDBMS has stored procedures to manage and understand data, whereas NoSQL database does not have any storage procedure, which makes it difficult for user to identify patterns. Next topic will be advantages of NoSQL database. Let's understand some of the advantage of NoSQL database. NoSQL database is optimal for processing massive volume data with distributed processing, and it supports failover mechanism and ensures high availability. Third advantage will be provide easy replication along with horizontally scalable capability. Fourth one will be capable of handling structured, semi-structured as well as unstructured data. NoSQL database can be installed on commodity hardware and can form clusters for distributed processing. It offers flexible schema and can be changed and at runtime without service downtime. Okay. In the above lecture, we have discussed a lot about NoSQL database and their benefits. However, there are certain limitations to the NoSQL database which we have to look upon. Below are the few listed limitations. First one is NoSQL database has limited query capability as compared to RDBMS. NoSQL database do not offer any RDBMS capability like consistency and ACID transaction and so on. Most of the NoSQL database use key value pair to store the data, hence it isn't easy to maintain as the volume increases. NoSQL database are new to the market and can be challenging for RDBMS programmers to switch to these technologies. Last one will be most of the NoSQL database are open sources and are a restricted choice for enterprise. So these are the disadvantages of NoSQL database. Now we will discuss MongoDB in briefly. MongoDB is an open source cross-platform and distributed document based database designed for ease of application development and scaling. It is a NoSQL database developed by MongoDB. MongoDB database is built to store a huge amount of data and also perform fast. MongoDB is not a relational database management system. It called a NoSQL database. It is opposite to SQL based database, where it does not normalize data under a schema and table, where every table has a fixed structure. Instead, it stores data in the collections as JSON based document and does not enforce schema. It does not have table, rows, column as other SQL database. The following table lists the relationship between MongoDB and RDBMS terminologies. So MongoDB have database, and RDBMS also have database. MongoDB have collection, RDBMS have tables, and in MongoDB there are documents, and RDBMS in RDBMS there is rows. In MongoDB there is fields, and RDBMS in RDBMS there is column. In the RDBMS database, a table can have multiple rows and column. Similarly, in MongoDB, a collection can have multiple documents which are equivalent to the rows. Each documents have multiple fields which are equivalent to the columns. Document in a single collection can have different fields. The following is an example of JSON based document. Okay. Next is advantages of MongoDB. MongoDB stores data as JSON based document that does not enforce the schema. It allows us to store hierarchical data in a document. This makes it easy to store and retrieve data in an efficient manner. It is easy to scale up or down as per the requirement, since it is a document based database. MongoDB allows us to split data across multiple servers. MongoDB provides rich features like indexing, aggregations, file stores. MongoDB performs fast with huge data. MongoDB provides drivers to store fetch data from different applications developed in different technologies such as C#, Java, Python, Node.json, and so on. MongoDB provides tools to manage MongoDB database. So next is data model design. MongoDB provides two types of data models. First is embedded data model. Second one is normalized data model. Based on the requirement, you can use either the models by preparing your document. First one is embedded data model. In this model, we can have embed all the related data in a single document. It is also known as denormalized data model. For example, assume we are getting the details of employee in 3 different documents, namely personal details, contact, and address. We can embed all 3 documents in a single one, as shown is below. Personal detail, contact, and address. These 3 information are stored in single one. Okay. Next is normalized data model. In this model, you can refer the sub documents in the original document using references. For example, you can rewrite the above document in the normalized model as like this. Okay. Next one is consideration while designing schema in MongoDB. First one is design your schema according to user requirement. Combine objects into one document if you will use them together, otherwise separate. Third one is duplicate the data but limited, because disk space is cheap as compared to compute time. Do join while write, not on read. Optimize your schema for most frequent use cases. Do complex aggregation in the schema. Okay. Next is how to create database in MongoDB. We use use command. MongoDB use database name is used to create database. The command will create a new database. If it does not exist, otherwise it will return the existing database. Syntax of use command: use database name. Okay. If you want to use a database with name my database, then use database statement would be as follows: use my database. Okay, the output will be switched to db my database. This will be the output of this command. Okay, to check your currently selected database, use the command db by this. Okay, next is drop database. If you want to drop database in MongoDB, then use db.drop database command. Okay, so syntax, basic syntax of drop database command is db.drop database. Okay, this command used for drop database. This will delete the selected database. If you have not selected any database, then it will delete default test database. So, example of this drop database: first, check the list of availability database by using the command show dbs. Okay, show dbs, these three database available. If you want to delete new database, my database, then drop database command would be used. Okay, use my database, then my database will be drop. Okay, next one is create collection. The create collection method, MongoDB db.collection create collection name comma option is used to create collection. This is the basic syntax of create collection method. Okay, option name is name of the collection to be created, and option is a document and is used to specify configuration of collection. Okay, name will be type of string, and name is the collection name of the collection to be created. Option is type of document. Basically it is optional. Specify options about memory size and index. Okay, following is the list of options you can use. First is capped, and capped type of boolean. It is optional. If true, enable a cap collection. Cap collection is basically a fixed size collection that automatically override its oldest entry when it reach its maximum size. If you specify true, you need to specify size parameter also. Auto index ID, boolean type. If true, automatically create index on ID field. Default value is false. Third one is size. Type of size is number. Specify a maximum size in bytes for a capped collection. If capped is true, then you need to specify this field also. Maximum is specify the maximum number of documents allowed in the capped collection. Okay, next is drop collection. How to drop collection in MongoDB. db.collection.drop is used to drop a collection from the database. Okay, this is the basic syntax of drop collection. db.collection name dot drop, and this will be the example of drop collection. Use my database, switch to my db db database. Now show collections. These three collections are available in my database. Okay, now drop the collection with the name my collection. We have to drop this collection, then use db.mycollection.drop. Then output will be true. Okay, next is MongoDB database data type. There are MongoDB supports many data types. Some of them are strings, integers, boolean, double, mix key, and arrays, timestamp, objects, null, simple, symbol, table, data, object ID, binary data, codes, regular expressions. Okay, so we already know. Okay, we already know about string. It is most commonly used data type to store the data. And integer, it is used to store a numeric value. Boolean, used to store boolean true false value. Double, used to store floating point value. Mix key, this type is used to compare value against the lower and highest element. Array, this type is used to store array or list of multiple values into one key. Timestamp, this can be handy for recording when a document has been modified or added. Next is object. This data type is used for embedded document. Null, store a null value. Symbol, use identically to a string. However, it's generally reserved for language that use a specific symbol type. Date, store the current date. Object ID, used to store the document ID. Binary data, used to store binary data. Code, used to store JavaScript code into the document. And the last one is regular expression. This data type is used to store regular expression. Now, how to perform CRUD operation in MongoDB? First one is insertion. To insert data into MongoDB collection, we need to use MongoDB insert or save method. So, this is the basic syntax of insert method. db.collection name dot insert and then bracket document. We write document name in this. Okay, the insert one method. If we need to insert only one document into a collection, we can use this method, this one, db.collection name dot insert one document. Only one document will be inserted into the collection. Okay, next is the insert many method. We can insert multiple documents using the insert many method. To this method, we need to pass an array of documents. Okay, next is query document. To find the find method. First one is find method. To query data from MongoDB collection, you need to use MongoDB find method. Okay, this will be the basic syntax of find method, db.collection name dot find. Find method will display all the documents in a non-structured way. The find one method, apart from the find method, there is a find one method that returns only one document. db.collection name dot find one. Okay, next one is update document. MongoDB update and save method are used to update document into a collection, and update method updates the values in the existing document, while the save method replaces the existing document with the document passed in save method. So, this will be the basic syntax of update method. db.collection name dot update selection criteria comma updated data. Okay, next one is MongoDB save method. The save method replaces the existing document with the new document passed in the save method. This is the syntax, db.collection name dot save object ID and new data. Okay, last one is MongoDB delete document. To remove, the remove method will be used for deleting document. Okay. So, first one is deletion criteria, and second is just one flag we use in remove method. Deletion criteria is optional. Deletion criteria according to document will be removed. Just one is also optional. If we set to true or 1, then remove only one document. This is the basic syntax of remove method. db.collection name dot remove deletion criteria. So, this is all about NoSQL database and MongoDB. So, thank you so much.